Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we have the very first battle video, beauty showdown. Today it's the battle of the contour powders, and we have this product by Marc Jacobs, which I've talked about before. It's the hashtag Instamarc light filtering contour powder, and it looks like this. It retails at Sephora for $49, so quite a pricey powder, and it looks like this. So it has a big mirror, has a matte highlight shade, a matte contour shade. The powders are really big, and the texture, it feels like silk. It feels like silk. It's like no other powder that I've ever tried before. It's amazing quality, but it is pricey. 49 bucks for just this. Now I'm going to be comparing it to this little thing, and this is by Wet n Wild. This is their Color Icon Contour Palette, and it retails for $3.93 at Walmart. And it's only a Walmart exclusive, so you can't find it at Target or any other drugstore, unfortunately. But it looks like this. Very similar to the Marc Jacobs one. I would say both of these colors are a little bit more muted than the Marc Jacobs one. Let's take this out for comparison. So as you can see, the yellow isn't that yellow, and also this contour shade isn't as deep as the Marc Jacobs one, but overall they look very similar. Actually, I think it might be the same size as the Marc Jacobs one, but it's a big price difference. $49. Let's make it $4. So it's a $45 difference, and I'm going to be applying each of these contour duos on one side of my face. So one will be high-end, the other one will be drugstore. Now I'll be comparing the two and telling you whether it's worth to splurge or to save money. So stay tuned. Can you guys guess which side is the drugstore and which side is the high-end? I think both sides actually look really nice. Let me take out my mirror. I do like both sides quite a lot. I do think one of them looks a little bit more warmer, and that's this side, which is the Wet n Wild side. And this one looks a little bit more natural, but overall they give a very similar effect. And the colorings are just a little bit different, but is it worth spending that $45 extra to get the high end? So So here are the swatches of the two. As you can see, the Marc Jacobs one is ashier and also a lot darker, but it can also be blended out super, like, to the point that it looks completely natural. And then we have the Wet n Wild, which is right here, and this one is coming off a lot more pink on the camera. Even in the pan you can notice a color difference. In the pan, the Marc Jacobs one is a lot more of a darker brown but has ashier undertones, so it just mimics the shadow really well, while the Wet n Wild one has kind of a rosy salmon undertone, which doesn't really mimic the way that shadows look in your natural skin tone, but it still gives you a contoured effect, kind of contour borderline bronzer effect. So the contour shades have different undertones, and also the highlight shades are a little bit different. As you can see, the Marc Jacobs one is a little bit more yellow than this one from the Wet n Wild. And there's two Wet n Wild contour duos. This one is the one that's the most similar to this. It has a yellowish highlight shade and also an ashier contour powder. So here are the swatches of the two highlight shades. As you can tell, they're sort of similar but not quite. So this one is the Marc Jacobs one, this one is the Wet n Wild one, and if I do the swatches on my hand, you'll notice the difference a little bit more. The Marc Jacobs one is this one, which is pulling off a lot more yellow. And now I feel the need to compare the textures of both of these powders because it's completely different. So as I mentioned before, the Marc Jacobs one just feels like silk. It does not feel like powder. When you put your finger in here, there's not a bunch of powder just going everywhere. It feels so nice, so silky. It just kind of fills in like pores and everything, so everything looks really smooth and even. It just has, it's like powder with a magical quality. I don't know how else to explain it. It just feels like nothing else. While the Wet n Wild one has a more powdery feel, definitely a softer powder feel, not quite as silky as a Marc Jacobs one, but it's still a pretty nice powder, I have to say. You don't have any powder going anywhere when you do swatches or you dip your brush in. I also like the way it blends out really well. Honestly, this does not feel like a $4 little contour duo. This feels like something a little bit more high-end. It does have that kind of finely milled texture as well, which is very surprising because of the price range. Once again, $4, $49. Both of these powders are really easy to blend out, so you're gonna get a really nice, soft, natural look. But if you want something that's gonna mimic the shadows that your face naturally creates, I would go with this. But honestly, this is not bad at all. Like, not bad at all. And I think we can move on to the last thing, whether you should save your money or go for the splurge. And I think in this case, I would probably save my money. I love this powder, I really do, and I highly recommend it. If you have the money to splurge, I would highly recommend the Marc Jacobs hashtag Instamarc. It's an amazing contour duo. I think it's all you need basically to do contouring. You don't need a billion shades, just two, your basic matte highlight, matte contour, and you can do everything with just these two. And the powders are amazing. You get a lot of product in here. Yes, it's pricey, but you get a lot of product here. And the feel is unlike any other powder that I've felt before. So I highly recommend this one. But this is $4 and it feels very similar. It blends out just as well as the Marc Jacobs one. Yes, the colors are a little bit different to the Marc Jacobs one. They're a little bit more salmon toned in the Wet n Wild one instead of ashier and just cooler toned like in the Marc Jacobs one. But it works nearly the same as the Marc Jacobs one, and the price difference is really big. So the winner of the Battle of the Contour is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Contouring Palette, just because it's amazing value and it also really just, it can really hang in there with something more expensive like the Marc Jacobs one, and for me that's really impressive. There's two of these, so you can easily buy both of the Color Icon Contouring Palettes and just make like your own little like Anastasia palette. It's going to be so much cheaper than all of those contouring palettes. So I highly recommend this Wet n Wild one. Super affordable and it performs almost as well as the Marc Jacobs one. Yes, the coloring's a little bit different, but the feel, the blendability, the lasting power, and just the overall packaging and design, it looks very, very similar to the Marc Jacobs one. It performs very similar to the Marc Jacobs one. Sorry Marc Jacobs, I love you, but the winner of this round is the Wet n Wild Contouring Palette. So if you haven't checked it out, I highly suggest you check it out. It's available only at Walmart, and you have to just check online because it's sold out in a lot of places. I actually had to go to a different Walmart, not the one that's closest to me, but I'll leave the link down below so you can check out and see which Walmart in your area has this, but I highly recommend it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed this. I will be doing a lot more of these in the future with stuff that I already own, so I'm not going to be buying stuff because I don't have the money to do that. Hopefully I will in the future, but I just don't have the money. But I will be doing, I have a few things that are very similar to one another. One is high-end, another one is drugstore, so I will be comparing those in the near future. And yeah, I think I'm done. I'm in the middle of recording another video which will be up before this video, but I will leave the link down below in case you haven't watched it. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Just click right here to subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Hope you're having a great day or night wherever you are, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye! Video for you guys because I'm going to show you all the new products, lip products from Maybelline.